So today we're going to go through our basic ROI model. This model is built upon comparing a production season, which we defined as March 1 through October 31. So basically we're pretending like you walk into a dealership and you're either going to buy a standard mower or you're going to buy a robotic mower. And so we're ignoring the base cost of the mower, and we're going to compare the cost of the person that you have to put on that mower to the cost of the robotic hardware and software that drive your autonomous mower. Now, for labor inputs, we're using a base wage rate of $20 per hour, and we're assuming that there's a statutory adder of 25%. So this covers things like workers' comp, employer insurance, 401k plan, just all the other costs that get added on top of base wage. So when you take $20 and you add on the 25% statutory adder, you get $25 an hour. Now for a full year, that adds up to $52,000. That's $25 an hour times 2,080 hours. And from March 1 through October 31 in 2025, we have 171 working days. So that's the manual side. On the autonomous side, if you go to Right Manufacturing website and scroll all the way to the bottom, there's a link to pricing. The autonomous mower, this autonomous standard ZK, with a 3-year software bundle, list priced is $49,999. Now the base mower, so this regular standard ZK with a 40 horsepower engine and a 72-inch deck, the MSRP is $15,561. So again, we're comparing the person to the cost of the autonomous hardware and software. So we're going to subtract the base mower from the quoted cost of the mower plus the software bundle. So taking $49,999 and subtracting the $15,561, we get $34,438. Now, depending on how many years you keep your equipment, whether that be 3 years, 5 years, or anything in between, we can calculate an annual amortization cost. Now, by amortization, we're not saying you have to pay extra money. There's no monthly fees. It's just the percentage of the total cost that you're going to allocate to a single year. So in this example, we have our amortization period set to 5 years. So we take $34,438 and divide by 5, and we get a cost of $6,888 a year. All right, so now let's plug in all of this data that we've entered as inputs into the model itself. So first we'll start with the manual side. So the annual fully loaded labor cost that we got by multiplying the $25 times 2,080 hours is $52,000. There are 171 working days in our mowing season, again March 1 to October 31. There are 260 work days in the annual year. So when we divide 171 by 260, we're looking at a mowing season of 66% of the year. And if you apply that to the fully loaded labor cost for the year, you get $34,200. Now, while we do that, it's because there are mowers in the north or in areas where snow may be on the ground or the grass just isn't growing. So we don't want to charge the labor for the man for the full year. We're only looking at it when he can mow. And so that's how we get the $34,200. If you divide that by 8 hours a day, or divide that by total number of days, you get $200 a day. And divide that by 8 hours, we get back to our $25 that we are using as the input. On the autonomous side, the robotic worker, the hardware and software, is that $6,888 that we calculated earlier. Again, 171 production days in the mowing season. That works out to $40.28 a day, or $5.03 an hour. Now, in year 2, the poor guy that we're using in our example does not get a raise. So we're going to use $52,000 again, 171 production days, we get down to 34,200 again, and exactly the same thing on the autonomous side. So our amortization hasn't changed, so we're still at $40.28 a day, or $5.03 an hour. Year 3, guy still doesn't get a raise. He's still 52. We're going to keep this flat all the way through the model. 34,200 for the season, $200 a day, $25 an hour. Same thing on the autonomous side for years 3, 4. For year 3. In year 4, the person, again, same, 52,000 times 66% is 34,200. On the autonomous side, if you decide to keep your autonomous mower past year 3, when the software license expires, you're able to get an additional license for $200 a month, or $2,400 a year. That covers basically the pass-through of the cell phone bill. The mower has a cell phone on it with an unlimited data plan. It also has GPS correctional data. So in the US, GPS is accurate to about 3 feet, which is fine if you're headed to the grocery store, but if you're trying to mow around a wall or around a tree, you need something that's more accurate. So we have a GPS correctional service that also works through the cell network, and that piece is included. And lastly, it's the web storage or cloud storage of all of your data, all of your maps, all of your production data from day one. So adding $2,400 for the year to the $6,888 of amortization, our new autonomous cost is $9,288 for the year, or $54.31 a day, which works out to $6.79. So that is our autonomous cost in year 4 and in year 5. So if we look at it as a summary of all of it, so in 5 years we had 855 days of mowing from March to October of each year. You will have paid your employee $171,000, again, including no increases in taxes, insurance, wage rate, anything, just $171,000. The cost of the robotic mower for the same 855 days is $39,238. So you get a payback of your investment in 1.44 mowing seasons. So that's 1 March through October, and then a little less than half of another. And then for the other 3.5 mowing seasons, it's pure profit. It works out to, for every dollar you spend on autonomous capability, you save $3.36 compared to having a person mow for you. All right, now we're going to look at it, same data, just in a slightly different format. So our assumptions, again, shown in yellow, we're assuming we have a 5-day work week, and we're assuming we're working 8 hours a day. Of those 8 hours a day, we're only going to actually mow 6 hours a day. Now, I know everybody thinks they mow 8 hours a day, but you got to think there's lunch, there's breaks, there's bathroom breaks, there's drive time, all of that kind of stuff. So we're going to make the assumption that we're mowing for 6 out of the 8 hours. Now, over time, over the 5 years that Greenzie has been collecting data, the average manual operating rate per hour is 2.1 acres. So we're going to look at a 2-man crew versus an autonomous mower, 1 guy and 1 mower. And then finally, we're going to compare that to 1 guy running 2 autonomous mowers. All right, so here we go, 2-man crew. Each guy works 6 hours a day. Each guy cuts 2.1 acres per hour. Our productivity assumption is that they're both 100% productive. So each guy would mow 12.6 acres a day. Multiplying that by 5, we get 63 acres apiece per week, or a total for the crew of 126 acres. Now, as we saw on our previous page, each guy gets $200 a day. So that's $1,000 a week. At the end of the week, you spent $2,000 to pay your guys to mow 126 acres. That works out to a cost per acre of $15.87. All right, now we're going to take one of those guys and we're going to put him on another crew, and we're going to fill his spot with one autonomous mower. So again, both the man and the autonomous mower are going to be mowing for 6 hours. However, over the same 5-year period we've been collecting data, our autonomous mowers have averaged 1.8 acres per hour. So we're not going to use 2.1 like the man was able to mow. We're going to use 1.8. Additionally, we're going to reduce the productivity of the man by 20% to account for the time it takes him to get the robot set up and to do his oversight of the mower. We call it side eyeing. He just has to keep an eye on the mower while he's doing other pipeline activities. Okay, so at 6 hours, mowing at 2.1 acres per hour with only 80% productivity, the man mows 10.08 acres per day. The autonomous at 6 hours and 1.8 acres per hour mows 10.8 acres per day. That's 50.4 and 54 acres per week. And then combining those, so in this week we mowed 104.4 acres compared to 126 on the 2-man crew. The man still costs you $200 a day. The robot costs $40.28 a day. Again, this is year 1 through 3 that we're using data right now. So at the end of the week, you paid the guy $1,000. The robot has cost you $201.39. Just want to point out these are not cash expenses. This is the percentage of amortization. You've already paid for everything when you purchased your mower. But combining those two, you spent $1,201.39 to mow 104.4 acres. That works out to $11.51 per acre compared to $15.87 on a 2-man crew. So what would happen if that one man was now able to set up 2 robots and additionally mow? So now we have all 3 mowing 6 hours per day. The man is mowing at 2.1 acres per hour. Each robot is working at 1.8 acres per hour. We took another 20% of the man's productivity because now he's setting up and he's watching over 2 mowers. He's still able to get work done. He's just keeping an eye on them both as he works. So for 6 hours at 2.1 acres per hour and 60% productivity, a man mows 7.56 acres per day, and each robot mows 10.8 acres per day. During the week, that's 37.8 acres for the week for the man and 54 acres per week for each robotic mower. Adding those 3 numbers together, we're able to accomplish 145.8 acres in this scenario. So the man's still $200 per day. Each robot costs you $40.28 a day. For the week, the man's $1,000. Each autonomous mower, $201.39 each, or a grand total of $1,402.78 altogether to mow 145.8 acres. That works out to $9.62 per acre. Now, if we were to add a third mower and reduce again the man's productivity to 40%, since he's having to eyeball 3 mowers, the cost per acre would actually start to go back up. So one man operating 2 mowers is the most efficient use of autonomous technology based on a cost per acre.